Story 1, my name's Jason, and this happened to me on Route 47 one night after a long warehouse shift. The road was empty, lined with trees that seemed to fold over the highway, and my headlights were the only light cutting through the dark. It felt like I was driving through a tunnel of black, nothing existing outside of the few meters my beams revealed. I first noticed him when the light swept across the shoulder. A man in a long coat stood perfectly still. No bag, no car, just watching. His face looked pale, and his posture didn't match anyone stranded. My instinct said not to stop, so I pressed the gas harder and told myself it was probably nothing. 10 minutes later, as I slowed for a bend, my heart nearly stopped. He was there again, standing just a few feet from the road, coat hanging stiff, his chin tilted as if waiting for me to see him. I checked my mirrors, and he was staring after my car until the darkness swallowed him. I tried to reason with myself. Maybe there were two men wearing similar coats. Maybe I was just exhausted and misjudging what I saw, but the knot in my stomach wouldn't ease, because deep down I knew I wasn't confusing anything. A few miles later, I passed under a lone lamp and nearly swerved. He was standing directly beneath it, facing the road. There were no paths, no cars, no way he could have gotten ahead of me on foot. My pulse pounded, and I gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles hurt. At the next gas station, I pulled in, shaking, and sat inside under the fluorescent light. When I looked toward the lot, he was there at the far edge of the pavement. I blinked, and he was gone, the space empty, as though he had never been. Back on the road, it became worse. At every curve or long stretch, it reappeared on the shoulder, at the tree line. Via a signpost. Always in the same stance, coat hanging still, watching. Sometimes I swore he was closer to the lane, almost ready to step out. Finally, at the town exit, he moved. As my speed dipped, I saw him step toward the road like he intended to block me. I swerved violently, tires screeching, and when I checked the mirror, nothing was there but empty asphalt. I sat on the shoulder, chest heaving, telling myself I must have hallucinated. But the fear wasn't from one sighting. It was from how carefully placed he always seemed, as if he knew exactly where I'd be on when. I never drove Route 47 again. Some nights when I'm on another highway, I still find my eyes darting to the shoulder, terrified of seeing a pale face and a long coat waiting for me in the dark. Story 2, it was around midnight when I was driving home from a friend's place. The road cut through a stretch of farmland. No lights, no houses. Just an endless path swallowed by darkness. My car's headlights barely pushed back the night, and I kept glancing at the fuel gauge, wishing I'd filled up earlier. That's when I saw her. A woman in a white dress was standing on the roadside, her hair hanging long and dark, her head tilted slightly down. I slowed instinctively, thinking maybe she needed help, but as I approached, she turned her face toward me. It was pale, almost gray, and her eyes glowed faintly in the beam of my headlights. My first reaction was to speed past, but something strange happened. The moment I blinked, she was no longer on the side. She was suddenly standing in the middle of the lane, just ahead, her arms hanging limp as if waiting for me to crash into her. I swerved hard, my tires screeching, and when I looked back, the road was empty. My hands shook so badly that I had to grip the wheel with both to steady myself. The night air felt heavier, pressing down on me like a weight. I told myself it was a trick of my eyes, maybe a shadow, maybe exhaustion. But just 2 minutes later, there she was again, standing beneath a crooked road sign. Her head was tilted at the same angle, hair hiding part of her face, waiting like before. This time I didn't slow down. I pushed harder on the gas, heart hammering. But in the mirror I saw her clearly. She was standing in the middle of the road again, though I hadn't passed her. It was like she could appear wherever she wanted, moving without moving. The radio in my car crackled suddenly, a burst of static that filled the silence. The sound grew louder until it was unbearable, forcing me to slap the dial off. When the static cut, I thought I heard something underneath a faint woman's voice whispering my name. By now my skin crawled with cold sweat, and I knew I had to get out of there fast. I scanned for any sign of a gas station or house, but the road kept stretching on into nothing. Every shadow at the edge of the light looked like her figure waiting. Finally, I saw the faint glow of a town ahead. Relief almost made me cry. but when I blinked, she was standing right on the town's welcome sign, perched unnaturally high. Her face turned down toward me. I drove straight through that town without stopping. Even now, when I travel at night, I can't drive past a woman on the roadside without my chest tightening. I don't know who she was, or what she wanted, but I know one thing: she followed me far longer than the road itself. Story 3. I was coming back from work on the highway late one night. The kind of night where the world feels empty. The road stretched on 4 miles. No cars ahead, none behind, just me and the rumble of my engine. The air smelled of wet asphalt after a passing rain. Up ahead, I noticed a car pulled to the side with its hazard lights blinking. Normally I'd stop to help, but something about the way it was parked felt wrong. The headlights were still on, but the driver's door was wide open, swinging slightly in the breeze. I slowed as I passed and glanced inside. The seats were empty. No driver, no passenger, just the radio playing softly, a cheerful song that clashed horribly with the emptiness of the scene. My gut told me to keep going, but a few miles later, another car sat abandoned on the shoulder. This one's hood was up, smoke curling faintly from the engine, but again no one was there. The hairs on the back of my neck rose. I started to feel like I wasn't driving alone anymore. Every time I checked the mirror, I swore I saw movement in the back seat, just a quick shadow, but when I turned my head, it was empty. Then I noticed something worse. Every time my headlights illuminated a roadside marker or sign, there seemed to be a figure crouching just beyond the light. Thin, pale, always watching, but gone when I tried to focus on it. I pressed harder on the gas, desperate to outrun whatever was happening. But soon, I came upon a third car. This one flipped on its side like it had rolled off the road. The windshield was shattered, glass scattered across the pavement, but no blood, no people, nothing. The moment I passed, my radio crackled alive, loud with static. Then a man's voice whispered, "You're next." I nearly swerved off the road, trying to shut it off, but the words kept echoing in my head. Finally, lights appeared ahead a gas station. I pulled in, jumped out, and rushed inside. The clerk looked at me oddly when I told him what I'd seen. He shook his head and said, "You shouldn't drive that stretch at night. Too many disappearances." I never took that highway again, but sometimes, late at night, I dream of empty cars with open doors and radios still playing, waiting for someone else to stop.